The Grand Council chamber hummed with tension as Ambassador Torres stood before the assembled representatives of 47 species. His weathered face remained impassive despite the gravity of what had just been requested. Behind him, the blue marble of Earth hung in the vast viewport, deceptively peaceful from this distance. "The request is denied," Torres said simply, his voice carrying across the circular chamber without amplification. A collective gasp rose from the assembled delegates. Councillor Vex of the Altarian Confederation leaned forward, his scaled features contorting with disbelief. "Ambassador, you cannot comprehend what you are refusing. The Devourer fleet approaches our outer systems. Without human military intervention, entire civilizations will fall." Torres clasped his hands behind his back. "We understand the threat perfectly, Councillor. Our answer remains unchanged." The chamber erupted in protests. Species that had rarely agreed on anything suddenly found common ground in their outrage. The insectoid keeper from Hive Prime clicked mandibles in agitation, while the crystalline beings from Sigma 7 pulsed with angry light. High Chancellor Quinn, eldest member of the council, raised a trembling appendage for silence. "Humanity possesses the most advanced military technology in known space. Your warships have capabilities that border on incomprehensible. You alone have the power to stop this menace." "Perhaps," Torres acknowledged, "but that does not obligate us to act." "Obligate," Beck slammed his fist against his podium. 47 worlds burn while you debate obligations. Billions have already perished. How can you stand there so callously?" Torres met his gaze steadily. "The same way you all stood by when Earth requested aid during the plague years. The same way you watched when our colonies were ravaged by solar storms because we lacked proper shielding technology. The same way you voted to exclude humanity from the Prosperity Accord because we were deemed too aggressive for civilized space." An uncomfortable silence settled over the chamber. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact with the human ambassador. "That was different," Councillor Wren from the Pacifica Union interjected weakly. "Those were internal human matters." "Internal?" Torres allowed himself a bitter smile. 60 million humans died in the plague years. Our agricultural worlds withered. When the storms hit, children starved while you debated whether helping us might contaminate your precious moral superiority. But now, when you face extinction, suddenly isolation is no longer virtuous. High Chancellor Quinn's voice wavered. "We admit past mistakes were made, but surely you cannot condemn entire civilizations for the failures of policy." "We condemn no one," Torres replied. "We simply decline to intervene, just as you declined to intervene for us." The massive view screen at the chamber's center flickered to life, showing the approaching Devourer fleet. Thousands of dark vessels moved through, space like a plague of locusts leaving dead systems in their wake. Councillor Vex stood again, desperation creeping into his voice. "Name your price. Technology, resources, territory, anything within our power to give." "There is no price," Torres said firmly. "This is not negotiation. This is consequence." The weeks that followed were a masterclass in cosmic irony. The Council dispatched their finest fleets to meet the Devourer threat. Ship after ship vanished into the dark. Evacuation efforts became increasingly frantic as world after world fell silent. Admiral Kane watched the tactical displays from the bridge of the human dreadnought Defiance, stationed at the edge of the combat zone. Her crew maintained perfect discipline despite the carnage unfolding nearby. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "we're receiving distress calls from 17 different systems. They're begging for assistance." Kane's expression remained neutral. "Log the transmissions." No response required. Through the viewport, she could see the remnants of the Altarian fleet limping away from their latest defeat. 3 massive carriers reduced to burning hulks, their escort frigates scattered like leaves in a storm. "It's difficult to watch," her first officer murmured. "Yes," Kane agreed. "It is." The end came swiftly after that. The Devourer fleet, encountering no meaningful resistance, swept through system after system. Within 6 months, 31 of the Council worlds had fallen. The survivors huddled in their remaining strongholds, sending increasingly desperate pleas to Earth. Ambassador Torres received the final transmission personally. High Chancellor Quinn's image flickered on the screen, the ancient being barely recognizable. Behind him, evacuation alarms wailed. "Please," Quinn whispered, all pretense of dignity abandoned. "We were wrong. We know that now. Help us." Torres studied the broken leader for a long moment. No, the transmission ended. Within hours, the Chancellor's world joined the list of the consumed. Years later, when historians of the surviving species attempted to understand humanity's decision, they would struggle with concepts their cultures had never fully grasped. The idea that actions carried consequences across decades seemed alien to beings who measured diplomatic relationships in centuries. But humans remembered. They remembered being alone when they needed help most. They remembered the votes that excluded them, the treaties that marginalized them, the careful diplomatic language that always found reasons why human suffering was acceptable, while alien suffering demanded immediate intervention. The Devourer fleet eventually moved on to distant galaxies, having stripped this region of space of everything useful. In their wake, humanity slowly emerged to explore the ruins. They established outposts on dead worlds, built monuments to extinct civilizations, and carefully documented what had been lost. Some called it cold. Others called it justice. Humanity called it learning from experience. They had requested help once and been denied. When asked to help in return, they simply returned the favor. The galaxy had taught them a valuable lesson about self-reliance. Now the empty space around them served as a permanent reminder of what happened when civilizations chose isolation over cooperation. The Council was gone. The regret remained.